Hey guys, Splatter Trigger here, and it's been an awfully long time since I've done a pickup video. Gotta say, it's been a little over 6 months now. So I tried my best to get everything that I've accumulated in that time for the collectors out there who watch this channel. As you can see, it's a lot, and I'm sure I missed some things as well. But needless to say, this is going to be a bit more than a one-parter here, so bear with me here, and I'll cut and get to everything and chat and whatnot with you guys, since it's been some time since I've actually even done a video. Just for the record, first things first, anybody who I mention in here, whether it's a YouTube channel, website, etc., you'll find all the links to their stuff and their wares in the description box to the video. Let me dismantle this pile and we'll get to things bit by bit. So I guess first things first, we'll just get this big box out of the way. Recently got first four figures, the Dark Link exclusive statue. The statue's already put in the display case, but I just wanted to show that I got it. I also got number 31. If you're looking for a good unboxing video on this product that I can't even do justice to, I'll leave that in the description box below. Well, that cleared out some room a bit. Next up would be, this was a promotional bobblehead for Wind Waker on the GameCube. Link bobblehead, obviously. There was a few others done within this line. This one was, like I said, just a promotional piece. And I'm sure you've seen, like, I believe there's a Mario one out there, a Star Fox one as well. I think there's a Metroid one. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. Yeah, I snagged this. It's a nice little piece to add to the collection. So moving on here, I made many purchases, I guess, throughout the last few months off of Cave's International Shop, and I grabbed a few of the items that I thought would be better talking about and more current with issues that are going on now. So first up would be this Dodonpachi Resurrection t-shirt that I snagged off there. Oh well, you can see that. This has quickly become one of my favorite t-shirt video game shirts lately. Also off the site as well, I've been looking for this one for a while. It's a Mushihime Sami Futari Princess Rico shirt. Oh, well, you guys can see Hakan's artwork on there. And then it's also double-sided. Been wanting to get that one for a while. And just for the time being, the Dodonpachi Resurrection art book. They have many more items in their international store as well. Besides soundtracks, Super Play DVDs, more shirts, etc. And even stuff for your, I got an iPhone 4 cover. They have their iPad 2 Death Smiles cover and stuff. It's a really nice place to look into if you're really into the genre of games that they put out, which is basically just shmups. But hey, you can't go wrong with those. And keeping up with international websites of Japanese goods. Recently I've talked in my past Mushihime Sami video of a site called Solaris Japan, which basically, if nobody's heard of Solaris Japan, it's think of it as like a mom and pop Play Asia. It's just a smaller version, but prices are a lot better, etc. For just over $5, I purchased the Grandi on the Sega Saturn. And I want to thank, for the next item, I'm jumping ahead of myself here, I want to thank Jacob over there for finding me one of the hardest to find, rare if you want to use that terminology, Lunar software pieces out there, and that is the Lunar Hyper applications for Windows 95, 98. And I'll probably go in more depth into this piece and many other pieces I have in my Lunar collection in a later video. But I really want to give a big thank you to Solaris Japan for getting their hands on that and sending it my way, since that's a very sought after item that I've been personally looking for a very long time. Now, keeping with the local shop in my area, one of my subscribers out there pointed it out to me for a long time ago, but I never had a chance to run around until just recently, and hopefully if my future schedule allows, I'll be able to get in there with my video camera. But recently I went to the Gaming Source in Southington, Connecticut, and here you have Time Stalkers on the Dreamcast I picked up, and Zone of the Enders on the PlayStation 2. They have a good selection there of older generation titles, especially like a 3DO and whatnot. A lot of Genesis, Nintendo games, etc. But like I said, I'll hopefully be able to get my camera in there to the shop one of these days and go into a much more in-depth feel of the place. Just recently, I also was able to attend the New York Comic Con 2011. I was there on the Friday and Sunday of the con. It was a madhouse in that place. I gotta say, on that Sunday, it was even more packed than my experience at PAX East 2011. But I was able to, I did record a lot of footage there. I'm having trouble with my scheduling to actually edit it together. I may actually just never put it up because a lot of the footage as well, which I did not announce on my Facebook page, I did not care how it came out was the best way to put it. But I did have a wonderful time, hung out with a lot of good friends there, and I had a lot of interesting experiences. I was able to hit up a couple of the used game shops. The prices weren't too spectacular, to be honest with you. A lot of that stuff there, they had about 6 or 7 vendors, and they were all very overpriced. But my main highlights of the New York Comic Con was I was able to attend the Square Enix Final Fantasy 13-2 panel. That was very interesting, and I was able to actually also, one of my favorite comic artists of all time is Jim Lee. I was able to get his autograph in a couple pieces, one of them which I'll be showing off here. But keeping with Jim Lee, I guess the piece that I had him sign was he had personalized. This is the Punisher for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Yeah, it's a crappy LJN title, but I loved it as a child, and the cover is graced with Jim Lee's artwork. So he had a personalized for Ed from Jim Lee here. I was able, I don't know if you can see just below my index finger. So I had this signed, and it was pretty nice to meet him again. I will say, since last time I seen him was about 7 years ago, but he had a lot of influence on me in my younger days, just teaching himself how to draw and growing up with his artworks and his style and whatnot. But the swag that I picked up there, video game related, were picked up Sonic Wings for the Sega Saturn, and it does have the CD, the music CD that accompanies it. And I got the Life Force Deluxe Pack, these are both shooters in case anybody's wondering. But those are the only 2 video games that I picked up, and no, I did not pay $20 for it. It's just the price that was on there. But I got these both at a very reasonable deal in my opinion. I got both of them for actually $20, which I thought was pretty good. Also, keeping with the video games, one vendor there was breaking up the miniature Final Fantasy 4 or 5 character set, and I bought a Titus because Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy VI, for some reason, well, I know why 6, but even 10 stays with me, and people have their gripes about every Final Fantasy, their pros and their cons about it, and you're all entitled to your own opinions. My personal favorites were Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy X, so I tend to collect for Final Fantasy VI and X as well. So when I saw this individual, and I didn't have to pay, to get the full amount to get other characters that I did not care about that came with the set, I was more than happy to pick them up for $7 individually. Also, Nintendo's booth, which was at New York Comic Con, it's got it upside down. I got myself a Zelda pin as well. I want to thank my buddy Joe for actually getting this, because the lines were so long, but he went and played Star Fox, and when he was playing Star Fox on the 3DS, they brought over pins and just kind of gave him the Star Fox pin and the Zelda pin, and he knows I'm a Zelda fan, so I want to thank Joe, which I've already thanked a dozen times, but at least on camera this time I want to thank you for handing that over. Also, keeping with the video game theme, I did go to the Mega Man Legends 3 booth, and these are not for me. I picked them up for a friend as a surprise, and he already knows him, and you'll know him as Rob Man on the Happy Console Gamer Show here on YouTube. And this was just basically a bumper sticker they were handing out. It seems to be their logo and their stance, which is pretty interesting. And I went to the Archie's comic booth, and I got Rob, the writer, was there to sign the Comic-Con exclusive Mega Man 6 for Archie Comics. And the final thing that I picked up at New York Comic Con was, it's out of the box, but the Psylocke figure. I believe these were done in 2004 as a representation of Jim Lee's artwork on the new X-Men Volume 2, the first gatefold cover, if everybody remembers that, from like 1991. But yeah, I've been looking for the Psylocke figure for a reasonable price for a long time now, and I was pretty happy to get my hands on it. And like I said, I'll just keep jumping around here, I guess, because there's just a lot of stuff here. But as many know, I'm a big Back to the Future fan, and I love the movies. It's, part of my childhood and whatnot. But I always liked the character of Marty McFly, especially in the first and second movies. Not knocking the third movie. I love them all. Don't get me wrong. But I found this model DeLorean based off the second movie, and the reason I keep holding it, turning it around and jumping it, because I'm getting antsy. I want to press the button for you on top of the car. But as you can see, that's the vehicle right there, and this is pretty cool right here. Nice little sound effect to go along with it. What I guess I'll get into now is some of the comic graphic novels and the art books that I've picked up recently as well. Most notably would be Berserk Volume 35. Finally was released stateside by Dark Horse Comics. And basically the only manga that I consistently read. Love the anime. I'm looking forward to the movies that they're going to be putting out, I think in next year, 2012 I believe. But yeah, I've been reading this all along, and I'm a big fan of the original TV series and whatnot. Also, I was notified by a friend, this is one of my favorite cartoons back in the day, and the reason my friend notified me is because anybody who watched Gargoyles back in the 90s, I guess the publishing rights are going to be lost soon, so I picked up the trades, the comic book trades, I'm sorry, on Amazon. And the thing is that what people don't know, maybe some of you might not know, is that the original creator of this series was let go after the second season, even though there was only 3 seasons put out, TV show. He came back a couple years ago and started writing a comic book, and the comic book actually takes place right after season 2, continues on with his vision. So though the comics were sporadically released because sometimes, with delays and delays and delays, I was able to snag the first, the 2 trades that were available on Amazon. So if anybody's a fan of the series, I suggest that if you didn't know about this, you get off your butts and snag these, because the rumor is the publishing rights are gone, so these may not be available much longer. And just recently, one of my favorite series of all time when it came to my old school comic book collecting ways was obviously the X-Men, and the omnibus was released recently, and as you can still see, I have it sealed, and it collects Uncanny X-Men 244 to 269, X-Men Annual 13, and Classic X-Men 39. And basically this bodes a lot of the Jim Lee, Chris Claremont run, which was, I loved reading this stuff as a kid back in the day. It's one of my favorite runs, besides the Claremont Byrne run on the earlier Uncanny X-Men's from, like the Dark Phoenix saga and whatnot. Now, next up would be a sort of game guide art book of game Catherine that was released here by Atlas. And I don't want to open this up to you because anybody who hasn't finished the game, a lot of the pictures will be spoilers. But there's a lot of original and unused artwork in here. And it's if you're a fan of the game and you like the style and whatnot, I highly suggest you run out and try to get yourself a copy of this. You have to import it. It was only released in Japan. But it's a feast for the eyes is the best way I can put it. Next up would be the Mega Man Tribute Art Book by Udon. And not only is this a glorious piece of fan art, one of my favorite artists, good friend Hans Steinbeck, known as Heavy Metal Hanzo, has done the artwork for my website, and background of, like, say, the Happy Console Gamer channel, and many other people here on on YouTube have probably already heard of him. His piece is actually featured in here on page 205, which is pretty cool. But besides that, if you're a Mega Man fan, I highly suggest you pick this up. There's a lot of great pieces of art in here. And next up, for one of my favorite games of the year, which sadly is only a digital release, I try to track down physical merch for it. It would be for Bastion, which is out on Xbox Live Arcade and Steam. On their store, they were selling their soundtrack, physical soundtracks signed by Darren Korb at one point, and Darren Korb is the composer of their music. For $15, you got this physical soundtrack, and you got the digital soundtrack as well, and it came autographed. So you couldn't pass that up, and it's, for anybody who hasn't played this game, the music is phenomenal. And also I tracked down one of the Bastion bandanas that they were given away at like E3 and PAX Prime, I believe, as well. So that's it for this part, and hopefully you stick around, and I got many more goodies here and below that I can get to. So the next video will be up in a couple of days. Thanks for watching.